Millions of people use artificial intelligence every single day, including me. According to our Fox News polling, 27% of registered voters say they use it weekly or daily. That number is only expected to grow as the tech is integrated into everyday life. In order to meet that need, though, tech companies are turning to nuclear power. My colleague Brett Baer takes a look at the energy demand from artificial intelligence.
Thanks, Aisha. In our last installment, we looked at partnerships between nuclear power suppliers and tech companies. Tonight, we examine the U.S. power supply and how nuclear energy is becoming an important source for tech companies. Across the country, Americans are using the internet at every hour of every day. According to Pew Research, 96% of adults say they use the internet at least occasionally. Obviously, this comes as the AI demand is increasing. How much does it compare to the rise of the internet use in the 90s and the 2000s?
I think, Brett, the internet use was overstated, as it turns out, at least in the early going, and then it caught up, right? And we saw the consumptive use later. Here, the difference is we're seeing the consumptive use almost immediately. And it's grown a lot faster than what we saw with the internet.
Now internet use is competing for energy alongside artificial intelligence. You know, a lot of people look at this a little skeptical. You know, you look at polls, there's not a ton of people that are using it as of yet. That obviously will change over time.
Well, I can see the concern because the future is unknown. The adoption curve is faster than any previous technology. It's faster than the internet, it's faster than iPhone. So it's being adopted very quickly, but still roughly half the public hasn't tried it yet.
Our new Fox News survey shows most registered voters rarely use AI, but that could be driven by their opinion of the technology. Those who saw AI as bad for society were less familiar with it. Those who thought AI was a good thing used it more regularly. Are you seeing a lot more people using artificial intelligence now?
That's unambiguously the case. If you think about flagship AI products that have captured the popular consciousness, stuff like OpenAI's ChatGPT, when they launched, it was the fastest growing adoption of any consumer technology product ever back in November of 2022, but that's a drop in the bucket as to what they have now.
In order to supply the increasing demand, data centers are providing a 24-hour connection to continue advancing AI technology.
Running all of these computational resources that modern AI needs requires an awful lot of electricity.
AI models are frequently trained to remain relevant. Software requires regular updates, and data centers need large cooling systems to keep everything running.
The plans for the largest computing clusters to run the largest AI algorithms in the world in the not too distant future is in the range of 1 gigawatt to 5 gigawatts. 1 gigawatt is about one Hoover Dam worth of electricity. So imagine 5 Hoover Dams being used to just power one data center full of one company's AI.
The growing complexity and need for updated infrastructure also puts strains on energy resources. What are some of the biggest limitations in building new data centers?
Well, data centers have become very large. So when you think about it, we need land, that needs to be zoned, and then we need to get permits so that we can build these facilities, and then we need the electricity, and we need to bring more electricity.
Data centers are often clustered in certain areas. According to the Northern Virginia Regional Commission, the area's 250 facilities handle about 70% of global internet traffic, the highest in the world. In areas with high concentration, tech companies can face delays in connecting to the grid. To make a new nuclear plant took years, permitting and regulations. Has President Trump's executive orders changed that dynamic?
Radically. The executive orders are now cutting through a lot of the red tape, and effectively we're not required to do things that we were required to do in the past.
Outside the U.S., some countries have placed limits on the number of new data center builds because of a lack of infrastructure. Obviously, you come from a point of view, but do you believe that nuclear is more reliable than some renewable sources like wind and solar?
I don't think there's any dispute it is, right? It runs like a freight train day or night, winter or summer, regardless of weather condition.
At nuclear plants, data centers are able to connect directly to the generating source. Energy is in constant supply, with nuclear sites operating at full capacity, more than any other energy source. Does this make it more reliable for tech companies?
Well, nuclear power is a good source of electricity for AI and many other things as well, including things like, say, advanced manufacturing. And of course, in the United States, we've gone many decades without adding new sources of nuclear power.
U.S. reactors supply nearly 20% of the nation's power. The 93 nuclear generators create more electricity annually than the 8,000 wind, solar, and geothermal power plants combined.
The grid operators tell us, and we develop a lot of solar, that we have to develop 20 times as much solar to get the same impact as 1 megawatt of nuclear energy.
As tech companies invest in energy to power artificial intelligence goals, some have expressed concern over whether AI is becoming too powerful. We look at the advancements and the warnings in our next segment. We'll send it back to you.